Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I am out at Julius Kleiner Park in Meridian. It's a warm day today. It's in the mid to high 80s, a little bit of a breeze, but a nice blue sky day and a good day to fly a drone. And what have I got? I've got, again, the original Hubsan Zino. So you guys have seen me messing around with this guy. Ron, I'm just doing my introduction on a drone video. Can I call you back in a little bit?
Yeah, I'm walking now. I was on Bob Dempsey. I was on Old Farce when you called
Oh, God, that makes sense. I'm sorry to interrupt that, but yeah, I'll give you a call.
No, I don't think they heard anything. But no, I'm out walking now. Just give me a call back.
All right, we'll do it.
Bye.
See you, buddy. So what I got was that warning that the battery drains too quickly or depletes too quickly. I can't remember exactly what it says. But also what it does is it puts the drone in kind of a limp home mode when it does that. There's only certain things that you can do, and eventually it tries to make the drone land, so you literally have to hold the stick up to keep flying. Now, I know it's not a real problem with the battery because I've flown it around for, 10, 15 minutes after you start getting that warning. It's something in their algorithm. So what I have done is I've rolled back the firmware to an older version, and it's a version that a lot of people say is probably the best version of firmware that came with the original Zino. And I should back up a little bit. I was looking at my records. I took delivery of this drone in December of 2018, so it's nearly 5 years old. It's almost 5 years old. But what I did, I was smart enough to keep all those old firmware versions. And updating firmware on this guy is a very manual process. And in fact, I forgot all the steps to do it. My friend John Coopy put together a video, and so I went back and watched his 3-year-old video on how to update the firmware on this guy, and it all came back to me, of course, because I'd done it about 1,000,000 times. But we rolled back the firmware to version 1.1.52 and the gimbal to 3.0.2.2 and the IT, which is the camera, the best version of that, and I remember all this drama with this drone, is V0.3.6. So that's where this guy's sitting. I'll put that up on the screen for all you Zino nerds that want to know, Zino nerds like me. So anyway, let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Let's see if we get that battery depleted warning. And by the way, I'm just running the original 3,000 milliamp hour battery for it. I do have one of the newer, I think this is 4,200 milliamp hours. I'll try that another time. It's fully charged and ready to go. But we're just going to try the standard battery and see how we do. And what better place on a day like today than Kleiner Park. So let's quit messing around. Enough jibber jabber. Let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Okay, I've got everything fired up, and so what we need to do here first is bind to current device. So I'm going to go to the drone, hold the phone down close to it, click OK, processing, request succeeded. And all that's doing is it's telling the drone and the phone and your controller that they agree on the GPS location. So let's go into the camera menu, and we're on 4K 30 frames per second, white balance, sunny day. And I already turned grid lines on, so we're good to go there. Everything else on automatic, just where it was set from the factory. And let's look at the status menu. Status menu shows connected. There you can see our firmware package. I showed you that earlier, but more importantly, it's not asking for compass, any kind of calibrations, compass, gyroscope, or gimbal. And again, I already have reformatted the SD card. And this, by the way, this drone requires FAT32, so you need to have, the easiest way to do that is just with a 32 gigabyte card. That's what I do. So anyway, let's, gosh, I'm trying to think if there's any reason not to take off. I don't think so. 11 satellites. It doesn't grab satellites like our newer drones. Let's start recording now. So we're recording, and I'm going to do an auto takeoff on the app. And sure you want to take off? Yes, I am. And there it goes. let's, yeah, and look at that, it's pretty stable. This drone doesn't have anything but a barometer. There are no downward sensors on it at all. So no optical flow or anything like that, like on a lot of the newer drones. So even toy drones have some of that optical flow now. This guy doesn't have it. So I can bring it into the camera here because there's no, there's absolute, and you see it sinking now a little bit. We used to call that the Hubsan drop. But it's looking pretty good. It's moving around there anyway. Like I said, all it's got is a barometer and GPS. So you can see that gimbal at work on that little guy. So it works pretty good. So yeah, I think what we need to do now is do our droning. I'm going to drop that camera down just a little bit and see if I can get higher than the sculpture and all these trees real quick. Reversing up now. And yeah, it's climbing good. So yeah, we're in good shape. I see I'm cross coupling just a little bit. Let me drop that camera down so you can see where I am there. And you can see the part of the park that I'm at. I'm over by the sculpture. So yeah, let's come in on that guy. And you know, this we'll see if we can do a an orbit around this around the sculpture. So yeah, we can do that. Well, one of the things, there's a lot of things I'm noticing here, and one of them is that the FPV feed is a lot more basic. I don't think it's even 720p. The FPV feed is pretty basic on this drone. Again, you know, it's a 5-year-old drone. And you know what? I think that firmware rollback is working because I'm not seeing anything weird on the battery. Battery's still at 95%. And again, this is just a normal battery. Okay, let's pick up that camera and let's fly around here a little bit. We can kind of get a little higher, kind of get to that rule of thirds. First, let's go out here to the corner. How high are we? We're about, according to this, 33 meters high. I don't know. It seems like we're higher than that, but it's saying that we're 33 meters high. So I am full stick forward, and top speed on this guy is 8 meters per second. There we are. We hit 8 meters per second. And let's see if we can get out there to the corner. And I am pointing the antenna on the drone directly at it. And this drone, as far as distance wise, you know, I never had any signal issues with it. And I, you know, I don't know what, I'm trying to remember what Hubsan calls their control system with this drone, but I don't think it's anything special. I think it's just mostly Wi-Fi, but it does, you know, your phone is connected via an OTG cable directly to the controller, which was a big deal back in the, it's still a big deal on cheaper drones, but back in the day it was really something. So let's go back over the park here, and I got to tell you, I feel like I'm higher than the 33 or 34 meters that it says we are, but maybe not. But you know, let's come back across the park and across the ponds here. You know, if one of the things that I am noticing is that I really, you know, I don't remember having a problem with the controls at the time, but they definitely aren't as precise as what we're used to on GPS drones. So I'm kind of dropping us down here so we can get a little bit closer and get a little better look at some of the stuff. And yeah, I'm not even, we must have a wind behind us because it's still at 8 meters per second and I am not at full throttle. There, we'll slow it down a little bit. Let's do one of my other favorite tricks, and we're still at 84% battery, so really that firmware is it. That cured our depletes too soon issue that we had. So I'm trying to do kind of an orbit around the fountain here, kind of a distant orbit, and we're kind of getting it. But again, Yeah, signal poor, so I'm too low. Let's get this guy up higher. And I see I did not start recording. Well, isn't that sad? Okay. Yeah, aircraft disconnected. No, okay. You know, maybe that was just because of the signal thing. It looks to me, well, I can't tell. Yeah, it's GPS hold mode. Let's go a little higher. Let's get some altitude here. And I am going to stop recording now, and I'm going to restart because I want to make sure I'm recording. And I hear an aircraft way to the east of me here, but I always want to make sure I get eyes on aircraft whenever I see them. So let's move on forward here and see how we do. We're about 65 meters high, and there is the famous pickleball courts. So I don't know what happened with that recording. In fact, I'm pretty sure I started recording, and I think when I had those signal issues, it just showed that I had stopped recording on the app. Yeah, and I'm getting some break up here, and I am pointed straight towards the drone. And again, you know, there's trees in the park here. I'm probably kind of shooting through the trees a little bit. Let's spin this guy around. Yeah, signal poor, aircraft disconnected. So that's no big surprise. And it will, what it'll do is it'll put the drone into return to home, and it'll start coming back to us. And it is. There, it's already coming back to us. GPS hold mode. So as soon as it regains connection, it just goes into GPS hold, which is kind of cool. But it's still giving me signal warnings. So we're going to bring it home. Yeah, aircraft disconnected again. We're just going to have to get her closer here, closer to home. Yep, we're getting it, and our signal is coming back. So I think I can. Yeah, still giving me signal poor. Well, I am going to take a more direct route back to us here, if I can get. Yeah, and you know what? It was recording before because. Yeah, so we're really getting those warnings off and on here. Comes back and goes away. So I'm gonna, yeah, it was in return mode, then GPS hold. Yeah. So it's kind of struggling at the park here. And again, I'm kind of shooting through some trees, so. But we're bringing it back. We'll try some other stuff here. So this guy has got some pretty good tricks that it'll do. That some even newer drones don't do so well. And we're at what, 55% battery. So that solved our battery problem. Whatever our battery problem was, we solved it. So I'm going to bring it back over the top of the sculpture here. And again, I'm trying to. It's just not as precise as what I'm used to with DJI drones, so the controls can be a little bit weird. So let's get over the top. Let's bring it down a little bit. And let me see if I can, and that drone looks cool up in the air. This is bringing back a lot of good memories. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an orbit here, and I'm going to show you how we do that. So if I can get it, kind of center it here. So I'm going to click on orbit mode. And yeah, we don't need that. I got that. And then I'm going to set the aircraft's current location as the point of interest. So then the next step is I have to move it back. I believe it's 5 meters or 10 meters. I can't remember which. But we'll see that current radius button turn blue. Yeah, 5 meters. Turn blue when it's far enough. So that's good enough. And let's pick the camera up so we're kind of centered on the sculpture. And I'm going to execute immediately. And I can move the speed up, and I can go clockwise or counterclockwise. Let's get out of that menu there. And I must have exited. I must have stopped it. Yeah, oh darn it. I don't know what I did there, but I'll see it on the replay. Let's click orbit mode again. And I'm going to move back over the top of this guy. Yeah, back it up just a little. Okay, and I'm going to set the aircraft as the point, excuse me, there, yeah, it's telling us the battery at 30%. So next step, and I have to back it up. So let's back it up a little bit further. That's good. Maybe even a little further than that. And we'll pick that camera up and execute immediately. And yeah, I hit exit instead of hide. I meant to hit that hide button. So hide, and then there is the drone, and it'll just keep orbiting that point of interest. And what's cool about this guy is that you can set your controller. So if you're at the point of interest, you can tell it to have the controller as the point of interest, and it'll do it just perfectly. So there, that was me picking up the camera so you can get a better look at the sculpture. So if you wanted to do a reveal, you could pick that camera up, and boom, there's the neighborhood. Let's pick it up here, and it's continuing to roll around. So in the top right there, I can hit the stop button, and then let's see. I don't know if we're going to have enough battery, but let me try one more thing. Yeah, we'll give you a look at CarMax in the park, in the Meridian Village there off in the distance, and there we are coming up on the park itself. I'm going to click stop. Yeah, battery's at 30%, so I don't know if we will have time to do it, but let's try. I'm going to bring it down and bring it back into us. I don't know if I want to go any lower than that because of trees, but I'm going to drop the camera down here. Yeah, I don't know. You can see me there. It may be too high, but we're going to try this. We're going to try the follow me function, and this guy will do a following mode optically. In other words, active track, just similar to a DJI drone. So yeah, it won't let me because the battery level is too low. Well, we'll have to show you that on another battery. So let's go ahead and let's just pick that camera up, and let's just go out for a flight, and we'll let the guy do a return to home. And this, believe it or not,
to home.
Yeah, what's it telling me here? I think it's just telling me, oh, it's in return mode right now. So let's see how close this guy gets to its return to home point. And as it comes down, I'm going to stop recording because it does have a precision landing mode. Now this drone, I think, does do better with a round landing pad. Yeah, and you know what? It automatically shut off recording. Oh no, it didn't. So I'm going to turn recording off, and that should help with precision landing. But nah, doesn't look like it's going to do it. And it is coming down. Yeah, it's scanning for the drone apron, and it's not seeing it. It's right next to the tree here. It's going to mow a little bit of grass, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt a thing. It won't be the first time this drone has mowed grass. I'm trying to pick up that gimbal as it's coming down here. Yeah, well, I wasn't fast enough. It's in the grass. It's probably, well, I'm going to grab the camera so you can see it. It's, you know, it's a good 15, 16 feet off of the pad, but I've seen it hit the pad before. And again, this is a drone that I think often it can be helped with a round pad instead of the square pad I have here. Let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Hey, okay, that was a successful flight. I just noticed one thing here though, and I haven't touched it because I wanted to show it to you guys. I'm looking at the battery on the back here. I'm not sure I had that all the way pushed in. I'm seeing a little bit of a ledge there. Now, we didn't have any battery issues, any power issues, but that could have been bad. Let me see if I can push it in further and if it clicks. Yeah, I could push it in further, but it didn't click, so I don't know if how well it was in there. Yeah, I think it was in there good, because just like it is now, I still see that ledge and it was fine. So I just think it will go in further if you let it. So I just giving you a little heads up. Make sure you plug that guy all the way in. But hey, this was good. We had a good flight there. About the same amount of flight time as I remember with this drone. As I recall, you'd get, like if you got a 20-minute flight on a battery, it was a long flight. So, I think we were up there for at least 15 minutes or so. And I do like the way the gimbal cover fits on this guy pretty easily. And it's the same with the DJI drone. You got to fold up the legs before you fold up the front. Man, I had fun on that flight. I wish I could have shown you the tracking. We'll do that on another flight. Now, we did have some signal issues. I've flown it further than what we saw here. I think the farthest out there I was around 600 meters, something like that. But I think the difference is here in this park, there's a lot of trees, so I think that affected our signal. And this drone was never a long-range drone, never intended to be a long-range drone. That's not what it is. And then, like I said, we saw some kind of weird stuff there with the video. I shut it off at one point and turned it back on because when it loses signal, you don't get that that icon, that recording icon. It goes back to just the red dot, and it looks like it's not recording. But I think it was the whole time. So you guys will have already seen the video off the SD card. I'll check that out when I get home, but I've seen this drone enough. I know it's going to look pretty good. It's pretty good when you're going straight forward. When the video on this drone falls down is when you're in a yaw. You'll see it'll get a little blurry. The bit rate is not terribly high. As I recall, about 47 megabits or something like that was about as high as the bit rate was on this guy. But overall, the quality is pretty good, and the gimbal is pretty good. You will have seen a nice, stable horizon. I wish Hubsan could do that now. This drone is 5 years old, always had a nice, stable horizon. Their newer drones don't, so I don't know. I don't know what that's all about. Kind of interesting. Anyway, I guess that's about it. I'm pretty tickled that I solved my problem with that battery drains too quickly. And we'll get out one of these days with this big dog battery. We'll get a longer flight time, and we'll try out some of the tracking. And this guy does waypoint missions and some other kind of cool features that some newer drones don't have. And like I said, it's a 5-year-old drone. So anyway, I know there's probably still not a lot of people out flying these. So I don't know. If you I guess what I'm trying to say is if you find a used one someplace, or you happen to find a new one, hey, it's still a valid product, at least in my mind. Anyway, this is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. The Hubsan Zino, the original from 2018. See you guys later. Bye now.